When I think about how quickly he moved forward from me to Marjorie, that was disturbing. With all the emails and the text messages and the different things that were that I was finding out about, I thought the least that he could do, make me whole at the end of it.
Who the fuck picked Steve Harvey as the representative for all things black? Steve Harvey, let's keep this shit funky. Steve Harvey is on his third marriage. His third wife was mistress to his second wife. Yet, black people have anointed this motherfucker the oracle when it comes to black dating. This nigga wrote a book on dating. You on your third wife, homie? With all respect, why can't we pick a nigga that know what he's talking about?
Girl, when I tell y'all that Mary Harvey isn't about to leave a single dirty secret of Marjorie Harvey untouched, I mean it. She's been going back and forth, calling Steve and Marjorie bullies after years of trying to silence her, drain her pockets, and keep her quiet while she continues exposing what she says is Marjorie's fake past. And with everything she claims to know now, Mary believes her life would look completely different if Marjorie hadn't entered the picture as Steve's paid escort and pushed her out of her own home. Girl, we've been hearing about Steve and Marjorie's relationship for a while now, but the more you dig into it, the more you start to realize just how much money must have gone into building that family-friendly image they've been selling. Because from the looks of it, they're anything but that.
It's like somebody snapped their finger and there was no marriage between us, you know?
Right.
It was like, boom.
Now, if there's one person who truly got the short end of the stick when dealing with Steve Harvey, it's his ex-wife, Mary Shackelford. She was married to Steve from 1996 to 2005 and ended up caught right in the middle when Marjorie decided it was time to sink her claws into Steve and grab a share of that fame and fortune for herself. When Mary first met Steve, he had already left his first wife and family because he believed they were holding him back. At the time, Mary had no idea Steve was still married and even allowed him to live with her for years. Remember, he wasn't anywhere close to being famous or wealthy when they first met, and it's fair to say that Mary played a major role in helping build his career. Even after they got married and she later discovered he had another family tucked away, she reportedly made sure they were taken care of and pushed Steve to pay child support. Mary and Marcia, Steve's first wife, also shared a fairly decent relationship. When Steve wanted to open his comedy club but didn't have enough money to make it happen, Mary reportedly gave him $250,000 from her personal savings to help complete the purchase. She even took on the interior design for the club herself so he wouldn't pile up more expenses. Girl, love is one thing, but common sense is another. With their lives so deeply connected and kids now part of the picture, Mary believed she had nothing to worry about and felt confident that her marriage to Steve was strong.
A family, you know, and I had someone that took up for me. I never was afraid because he was there. He was like the brother, daddy, uncle, everybody. And that meant a lot to me. And my family meant a lot to me. And he knew that because I told him about my family when I met him. And I was telling him about how important everybody was to me. I felt safe for the first time in my life. So I said to myself...
Little did Mary know that while she was feeling confident about Steve and their relationship, Marjorie had quietly re-entered the picture and was slowly gaining influence over him. Now, if you ask Steve and Marjorie how they first met, they'll give you the same cookie-cutter story they've repeated 1,000 times. According to them, Marjorie attended one of Steve's early shows. He spotted her looking beautiful in the crowd, and right there he supposedly said she would be his wife one day. And the rest, as they like to say, is history.
So I came late, came down front with my girlfriend. Our seats were right here at the front, right by the stage. So we were sitting here. The stage was here. So he's just quiet. He just keeps staring at me. So I'm waiting on him to make me a part of the show so we can get on with the show. So he stayed quiet so long, staring at me. Now everybody in the club is looking at me. And so he finally realized, okay, I got to say something. He was like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know who this is, but I'm gonna marry her.
But Marjorie's path to becoming Steve's wife is a lot shadier than the story they usually tell. After they first met, she reportedly didn't give Steve the time of day because he was broke, struggling, and far from the lifestyle she wanted. At the time, Marjorie was said to be moving in circles filled with drug lords, pimps, and all kinds of questionable characters. She was even married to Jim Townsend, a major dealer tied to the Memphis drug scene. Some people claim she was so connected to that world that she earned the nickname Lady Heroin. Her reputation reportedly became so bad that she eventually dropped out of the University of Memphis because she couldn't even face going to classes anymore. When Jim was eventually arrested and sent to prison, Marjorie quickly moved on and married his cousin, Darnell Woods, with whom she had Lori. Darnell was said to be even deeper in the street life than Jim. But just like before, the feds soon came knocking, and Darnell ended up getting indicted as well. With no degree, no steady money, and that lifestyle falling apart around her, Marjorie reportedly realized that if she wanted a wealthy and stable future, she needed someone making money the legal way. Prison visits weren't the life she wanted. Around that time, she heard that Steve's career was taking off and decided to circle back to the same man she had once rejected. Steve was riding the massive success of the Kings of Comedy tour and was quickly becoming one of the most recognizable and beloved comedians in the industry. But with his rising status, Marjorie supposedly knew she couldn't just approach him directly. According to the rumors, she first got close to Steve by spending time with his bodyguard, Big Boom, and used that connection to get back into Steve's orbit. By the time that situation played out, Marjorie was reportedly Steve's side relationship. Steve allegedly wanted her to stay comfortable in that role and even set her up with an apartment while keeping her bills paid. Whenever he traveled, Marjorie would reportedly join him while he came up with different excuses for Mary. But the more Steve provided for her, the more confident Marjorie became, and she eventually started demanding more. In the end, she allegedly took things into her own hands and sent Mary details about her relationship with Steve, even reportedly calling the house at times just to make it clear she wasn't going anywhere.
The housekeeper, she brought it to me, and when she handed it to me, it was almost like that package burned my hand. I knew it was something crazy. I didn't want to look in it, but of course I had to look in it. So I opened it and I'm reading this letter. And the more I'm reading this letter, and her wording is so defined, it was like somebody was rolling tape. Her verbiage about him, like how he spoke, the words he said, you know, how he walked in the room, everything. She was like painting a picture of him being, you know, at their apartment or whatever. I don't know anything about a house.
As soon as Mary confronted Steve about the situation, he reportedly turned cold and cut her off completely. Once the divorce process began, she quickly realized just how harsh things could become and how easily Steve could be influenced. The divorce dragged on for a long time because Mary believed she deserved what was rightfully hers, while Steve and Marjorie were not willing to give it to her. When it became clear she wasn't going to back down, Mary later said that Steve and Marjorie punished her the only way they knew how, by going after her son. She claimed their son Winton would sometimes come back with marks on his body, and she couldn't tell whether it was Steve or Marjorie behind it, or if it was meant to mess with her mind. At one point, she even filed a police report stating that Winton had returned from Steve's home with bruises. When the police eventually closed the case, Steve quickly moved to file for full custody of Winton. Because Mary didn't have the money to hire the kind of high-powered lawyers Steve could afford, she ultimately lost. From that point on, Mary said she rarely got to see her son, and believed the custody arrangement gave Steve and Marjorie enough time to damage the relationship between her and her child.
That financially, my life is in a shamble, that is absolutely true. But it's been like that since 2005.
Why,
so this
though?
is nothing.
But why is it in shambles?
Because we have a man of power and authority, and he used that in the court. In a small town in Texas, he was able to manipulate this entire situation to his benefit, and it does happen.
It gave him that.
Because I'm a nobody. You know, his lawyers came in, his team of lawyers and his entourage, and, you know, he's a man with the power. He's in 60 markets. He's written these books. You know, he's socially connected with the programs and Disney and all these type people. It's easier for him to come to court and say, oh, this woman has no job. You know, socially, she is of no significance. She has no moral support or no emotional support, which I did not have, because everyone shifted to his side of the table, so to speak, because at that moment I did become insignificant.
After years of speaking out about everything that happened, it seems like Mary may have finally started convincing people. One person said everybody already knew Marjorie was for the streets, and the only person who believed he could change that was Steve. Another person commented that people often forget Steve Harvey left his first wife and kids once the money and fame started rolling in, then later cheated on his second wife Mary with Marjorie before eventually marrying her. They said this isn't really about women, it's about the lesson behind it. And if Mary sounds angry, they believe she has every reason to be. She stood by him when he was a nobody and had absolutely nothing. But what do y'all think about all this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, buddies.